Okay, hello and welcome back to the World Together Chess Christmas calendar for 2025. It is day 2 currently, and we're playing e4, to which we see an e5. I could massively do, of course, as I'm sure many of you are aware, with a W here. We started yesterday, or rather started off this Christmas calendar yesterday with a rather heartbreaking L. I don't think I'm actually recovered yet. Oh, hold on. Sorry, I was just absolutely dying for a sip of water there. We see queen to f6. Yeah, yesterday there was an unbelievable mating idea, as I believe I titled the video, that I missed, and it could have been the greatest start ever to a Christmas calendar. I raised an eyebrow when we saw queen f6 because I thought there's no way we transpose into the more classically reached line via bishop c5, then queen f6, but move order, schmove order, the board is in the position that we need it to be in order to play the greatest opening ever created, the Blumenfeld Scotch. I mean, it was going to be a matter of time before we got a Blumenfeld in the WTCCC 2025. Day 2, a little early, but you know what? It's a welcome sight. It's a welcome sight indeed, because I need to get on the board with a W right here. My opponent plays the correct first move, and it remains to be seen, will they A, blunder? In fact, let me color code this more appropriately. Blunder. Ooh, okay. There are 5 moves in that position. I've detailed this heavily in the Blumenfeld Bible, my hour and a half, 16 highly annotated chapter deep dive into this opening. That from here, there are 5 moves that are played non-trivially in the database. King here and then queen e5 as well. And my opponent elects to go for the only king move. Now, knight c3 is the appropriate follow-up. If they try and kick my knight here, I mean, you just walk directly into a takes, and then thanks very much for your queen. So you... Now, let's be honest. Oh, hello, you give me a check, and now your queen's hanging, your rook's hanging. So, I don't know, this might elicit resignation. I was gonna say, it's not the end of the world if people blunder this. Most people then, once you take here, of course, see through the sneaky idea of recapturing. My opponent does not resign. They instead step back and look to, I guess, pick this up, sure, the hell. But yeah, sorry, I was going to say, we're jumping a bit all over the place here, that from this position, you can save the rook, and then, you know, you're only down 1 pawn. Obviously, there's some stuff that's messed up, and I was going to end up talking about that if my opponent went for that line, which is, we got some holes here. We got some very, very soft-looking dark squares that look immensely exploitable indeed, but I can just take this rook. Check happens here, and then, I guess, queen e2. Do you have queen a7 there? Possibly. Maybe then queen f2, you take my knight, queen b6, the king has to move, I get to castle. I should be winning. I think we're grabbing this, and I think after you take on e3 and maybe look to pivot back here, I mean, I don't really want a queen trade, but my opponent's not going to trade queens with me. They do slide back. A fascinating idea, one which I must say I haven't seen before, but also one which just doesn't remotely scare me. Because I'm up a rook, yes, you're going to win back the knight, but I think if I go queen f2 here, I get to infiltrate on these dark squares on that hole on b6. Queen f2, you take here, queen b6, king has to come to the d file. I mean, if you go to e7, I get knight d5, so you probably go down here, but I could maybe come into d5 with the knight. I'm thinking queen f2 to get on these dark squares makes a whole lot of sense, and you simply have to play this lest you're just down a full knight. I'm going to bring the knight back out this way. I mean, if you want to trade the queens, it's just not going to work. You can't bring the king to then hold the knight, because of course we hold c7 as well. We're going to give this check. We are up an exchange out the opening. I'm sure I could have had slightly more of an advantage, but not only are we up an exchange, but we've relegated their queen to one of the most depressing positions I've ever seen. A queen on a8. Yeah, this is tough. I'm also thinking knight d5 is a bit of a immediate no-brainer. We threaten this fork. I mean, we also hold this square, so you can't come up ever. Potentially there's back rank ideas. I feel like knight d5 has to be the correct start, and presumably it's a queen b8. But we could go here and then just basically try and trap the queen in. That would be unbelievable. We could also try and at some point... I didn't think about that at all. I really didn't think about that at all. Oops, okay. Hold on. I mean, I'm still up an exchange. Still what I'm doing makes sense. If here I get a double check, and I'm a fan of that, I do believe. So I think I can start with this check fairly safely, and if here I could at the very least just bounce out with the knight again, sure. If here and you go king f8 though, what the hell's going on here? Maybe I go queen here. This is interesting though. I completely blanked on the fact that this was possible. Queen comes in here. You don't have a check because my knight holds it. So without threatening to take this, I guess you can come across with your knight. Oh, and then I could go knight b6. is that? But then you go like queen here possibly, and I don't know. I mean, there are fancy things we can try and do here. Starting with a check does seem to make some sense. If you go across to f8, I could just go for a little queen b3. Trading the queens does also make a lot of sense though. I could also just start by castling, and if you take, I take. It comes with tempo on the bishop. You have to come back across. Oh wait, hold on. Then bishop h3, and we just put crazy pressure on here. You go knight f6. I go rook f1. We threaten to sack, and then take, and then check. I think there are all sorts of amazing stuff. You know what? I like queenside castles. It doesn't seem like the most interesting ideas because we do allow the queen trade. I'm not just, you know, retreating to b1. Or rather, sorry, b3, excuse me. But actually, just occupying these dark squares, I think, is enough. Also, I am up a bit of material anyway. I mean, it's not a massive amount of material. It's the kind of amount of material that could easily, if my opponent can situate their knight correctly, I mean, it can be drawish as hell in some kind of endgame context. But, you know, it's enough material that the queen trade is a bit of a last resort for them rather than something they desperately want to do. They'd step out here with the knight. You trying to do this? And I mean, I guess you aren't going this way because I could trade it off first, I guess, and then do it. Hold on. I was thinking if this, you come and defend with the king or something, there's pressure on here, and it just... Or you'd have to relegate a knight to here or something like that. Nah, you know what? I want to keep the queen on the board now. Hold on. I can go check. You go king f8. I go... I don't really know, to be honest. I really do want to now keep the queens on the board. Let's follow my nose a little bit with this check. I'm going to follow my nose with the check because, honestly, that was the lesson from yesterday. Follow my nose with the checks. When I didn't, I mean, I'm still genuinely upset about that, as I'm sure you can tell. King f8. Okay, sure. This rook's going to struggle to develop. Fantastic. Now... I really want my queen in d6. I don't seem to be able to do that very effectively. I can always take. It just seems kind of boring. Queen b3 with a vague eye on this to then also go queen a3 check. I think I'm going to step back out here. There's no check. You can bring your queen back into the game, but then I'm hoping for something exciting with a rook on the f-file. I mean, I have just said no to a very easy advantage. But I've done so for the entertainment quality, of course, and for the brutal attacking quality that hopefully I can bring with the queen that's still on the board. You know, I haven't gone to b3 for any reason peculiar to the b3 square. It's more just where can I move that doesn't entail a queen trade, and that seems to be literally it. So I don't hate the b3 square, but also, yeah, it's more about can I access diagonals on these dark squares here. That has to be nonsense. Oh no, maybe it doesn't. Hold on. Here. I see what you're trying to do. I see what you're trying to do. I want to start with this check. This doesn't work. This doesn't work. This doesn't work. Let's start with this check. Get me on those dark squares. Thank you very much. That's all I wanted. The king goes back over here, or rather back, I say back over here, just to here in the first place. We've sort of seen a castling, but I guess the rook hasn't moved. And now, I mean, bishop c4 looks very tempting. I kind of like knight back out to d5 though, and we just hold this square. Don't care about getting forked at all. That's not remotely concerning. I think my knight does belong on this square. I do want to stop the check. Really don't care about the fork. Actually, I would love to sack back the exchange. I was kind of getting steadily more and more uncomfortable with the fact that I was just going to be up an exchange in an endgame and then converting. That is not the kind of game that I want to win here on the Will Taylor Chess channel. Occasionally it is. Occasionally we got to do that. But if I can help it, I like to try and be a little more... You know, I think it's a shame to win when you're up material. You got to be down material. You just got to be down material. Right, bishop here. I want to align towards this king. Again, win the exchange back, great. No one cares at all, because what are your pieces doing? You have no legal moves, no legal moves. This can't move because of checks here, I'd imagine. I can, I believe, just recapture, or I could go rook f1 if I was a real bad man, but then maybe you bring this back out. Let's just grab this, I think. And, I mean, that was your only active piece. This can't move due to checks on e7. This literally can't move. This literally can't move. Hold on. How can that work? It simply cannot. Check. Bring that king over here. Bring that king over here. And I do believe... Do I not have double check? If you go here, that's mate. And if you go here, that's mate. I think we're mating. And I think we absolutely paralyzed my opponent's entire position. Except from that queen, of course, which could have moved, I guess. Maybe queen d4 would have been a little more frustrating. But you know, we don't cash in on a queen here. That's not what we're looking to do. We go double check. In the face of a double check, even the bravest king must flee. Because you can't possibly block check from two directions. You can't possibly capture the piece putting you in check when it's two pieces that are putting you in check. And therefore, the only option remaining is to move. One of two legal moves will be played. If you go here, thank you very much. We might even style on them with a little intermezzo of knight e7. Or Or we go for queen e7, checkmate. Do I have a mate in 2? Mate in 2 is always better than mate in 1. No, let's just, you know what? Let's secure our W for the World Taylor Chess Christmas calendar, day 2. And the Blumenfeld literally never fails. Now, I think, let's be honest, there was probably some nonsense. Okay, I mean, there was going to be a bit of suspense while it loaded, but apparently that loaded just immediately. Maybe not nonsense at all. I mean, of course, I kind of fluctuated and played around a little bit with my advantage here, and in general, that seems to be trending slightly down to the point where rook takes h1. No, it was... Oh, what? Here. Why didn't I do that? I've got the... like... Huh? Oh my lord. Alright, hold on. There's definitely some really interesting stuff to look at very quickly, but as per usual, the Blumenfeld gets us an unbelievably winning position. If I look at my own database and move my face cam here, we can see that in the Blumenfeld Scotch position here, we've got a 72% win rate across 185 games. I've played this 99% of the time, I guess maybe in a couple bullet... When the hell did I play this? Okay, 2023 and 2023. Yeah, I don't know what I was doing there. Probably I wasn't paying attention. These were blitz and bullet games anyway. Knight b5. Every time. The best in accuracy in all of chess. If you are interested in learning this, I've slapped the Blumenfeld Bible in the description, so check it out if you fancy. But yeah, I mean, it's just straight wins. Now, at what point did we deviate? By the way, in the Lee chess database as well, obviously, I've honed this repertoire such that 72 is about 10% higher. Let's be accurate, 9% higher than the 63 overall in the database, but we're still looking at 250,000 games with a 2-to-1 win rate. It's a fantastic opening. Objectively, who the hell cares what the engine thinks? Well, I mean, I do insofar as it's not terrible and it's unbelievably playable. We see takes, of course. King d8 then. As I mentioned, King d8 is played 15% of the time. Or I didn't mention that, but I mentioned it was one of these 5 non-trivially played moves. Everything else is just straight zeros, but you can see 10, 15, 18, 21, 34. But King d8 is often this annoying one where, you know, you go for knight c3, and if they just defend correctly here, which, by the way, we're looking at 13, I mean, equally played is the best move on a blunder. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. You're either going to see a better move or a blunder. A6, of course, and we can go in here. If they, oh, rather, sorry, go in here. If they do go for knight g7, then in general, I could have gone for queen d2, looked to castle queenside, moved the bishop, brought the rook to the f file. You know, we've got some ideas going in on this f pawn, and effectively, we're also saying basically, I don't know, you know, a6, the knight goes back here, for instance. We're saying, look, you've rendered yourself irrevocably on the d file, d6, let's say queenside castle, something like this. We've got some firepower here. We've got, you know, an f file. This is still looking very interesting, and objectively, you know, we've still got chances. It's very imbalanced. It's objectively absolutely fine. So this king d8, it just doesn't pose a super hard question to answer, and it's annoying sometimes because, of course, they might not fall into any of the traps, but naturally, we're going to grab this. Now, if they do take here, we get the fork, thanks very much, but if they save the rook, then we can bring the knight back out, and one of the main ideas is the weakness and the softness of these dark squares, where if we can maybe somehow get our queen onto b6 and start checking and infiltrating on c7, we're going to be doing fantastically, of course. The knight is a beast. If you trade it off, my other knight is going to be, again, a beast here. But instead, my opponent went for, and this has been played about 1,000 times, sure, this check. We go g3, and you've got to move the queen. I get to pick this up. Check queen e2 here. Queen f2, hold on, was this all perfect? The engine loves all of this, fantastic. Then queen b6, which apparently, oh, I could have taken on f7. Amazing. I guess I take on g7, this is actually problematic. Here and here, and then here and... So I just eat all of these pawns, okay? I mean, I could have been up 5 points of material. You know, the 3 points that I lost in here, I could have claimed back by way of just nabbing pawns here. I really like giving the check, though. Force the king to move. e5. Oh, tell me that's to play this and this. Tell me we play e5, and then if you play, I don't know, what's the database saying? Okay, let me return my face cam to its rightful place. The database does not seem to be of use to us now, but if you play like a g6 or whatever, yeah, knight e4, look at the state of this. We can physically blockade this, never let the bishop move. The d6 blockade is a major idea in the Blumenfeld. They go here, castles. Again, my idea was that if here, and you bring the king to defend this, I was going to go bishop h3, and mount just the craziest pressure on this. If knight f6, I was going to go rook f1, I think was my calculation. And again, there's this threat here where if you go like this, I was going to sack... Oh my lord, I was actually seeing stuff. I did see all of that. Awesome, okay. I mean, obviously they had slightly more resilient defenses, knight e5 at some point, but that was not bad at all. The queen trade still entailed these beautiful ideas, and then went for the check, king moves across, again, said goodbye to a very easy advantage, which I could have just gone takes. bishop h3, nabbed this, the pawn's pinned. Like, obviously, I could have mopped it up like that, but we keep the queen on the board, do something slightly dodgy, we give the check, Is that genuinely just a pivot into d6? That's disgusting. No. Wait, what? Okay, apparently bishop h3. Point is, no one cares about this check. That's what I want to focus on. Sorry, not the check, but the fork. No one cares at all about the fork. In fact, the engine wants me to encourage my opponent to go in for it. I bring this back here. Sure, could have gone for this and would have had the mating idea here. And at that point, okay, you get a queen e3, king moves. Again, you've got to create yourself some luft, and I guess we've got bishop here and the rook's coming in. No one cares about the fork. I should have gone for this idea earlier. I liked saying, look, bishop c4, I can grab this. I think I already showed that this idea would have been actually really potent with the mate threat here and the mate threat here. You have to go for queen e3, king b1, then h5. h6 doesn't work, but you can go for h5 apparently. And at that point, check, king here, e5 preparing this. You're clearly dead. I mean, I guess h6 doesn't work for what reason? Because then check, and you don't have this. You have to go like this. Then I get mate. I mean, obviously we were hunting that king. I should have gone in a little earlier, and I'd been happy to trade the knights. What I saw though was that in this position here, let me refresh and just clean up. Okay, I thought more arrows would disappear there from the board. But what I saw was no legal moves, no legal moves. Any move is a blunder. I mean, obviously they could have played more accurately. They could have created a bit of luft. Obviously, our attack would not have been as potent, but we were still cooking stuff up. Rook on the f-file, bishop here, queen here. The complete immobility of any of their pieces, except from, I guess, the queen. If you brought the queen in, then I still get knight e7. Brilliant. Yeah, knight e7 would have just been nasty, as of course was prophesized by being on these dark squares. But you move a piece that you can't move. Check here, double check. And of course, the king moves, checkmate. Thank you immensely for watching day 2 of the Will Taylor Chess Christmas calendar. If you enjoyed and you want to see more videos like this, check out the Patreon. The link is in the description. It is the best way to support the channel. You also get 50% off of the Blumenfeld Bible if you are a patron. So if you want to have a 1 billion% win rate like I do in this opening, check it out. I think it's about 16 quid. It could be 8 quid if you're a patron. There might still be an active discount code actually from a recent video. I think RE1 Brilliant should get you like 20% off. I'm not sure. Anyway, check it out if you're interested. If you are not remotely interested, then thank you for watching episode 2 of the Will Taylor Chess Christmas calendar 2025. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for day 3. I hope this is the greatest Christmas present that you've ever received. I hope I'm improving your descendants inexorably. And I'll see you tomorrow. Hasta la vista. Goodbye.